Hi, I'm Liam, and I have a general pick a card reading today for the collective. Um, yeah, let's get into it. So, our first deck I have is the Modern Witch deck, and the little symbol for that is an acorn. And then I just have this classic Rider-Waite deck, and this is a blue stone of some kind. If you know what it is, let me know. And then we have a feather for our rainbow tarot deck. So let's get into it. If you're watching this right around when it's posted, it's been the start of eclipse season. We just had, I don't know that much about astrology, but I sort of keep apprised to these things. What just happened? The Saturn-Neptune conjunction just happened. So there's a lot going on in the sky and a lot going on energetically at the moment. So let's see what comes up for readings. If this resonates with you, that's great. If it doesn't, leave it. You can pick a pile from what I laid out, or you can just see what feels true. Yeah. Can we get messages for the collective? For whoever most, no, let's not say that. Let's say for whoever needs a reading right now. For whoever's here with us right now. This is timeless reading, so whenever you see it is when you were meant to see it. Yeah. Let's see how many cards come out for us. For me, the energy of this week is definitely things have definitely shown up. It's definitely shown up as tiredness, as disruption in routines, and yeah, just go with 4. Any more cards for this reading? Any more cards for this reading? Okay, got 5 cards. Should we stop there? Okay, let's see here. We have the Star card. We have the 8 of Wands. The Page of Cups. The King of Swords. And the 3 of Wands. So we have a lot of different elements here. The Star card, for me right now, I'm really noticing that she's tending to the water and the land. There's a stork in the animal. I mean, I guess it could be a heron, but it kind of looks like a stork a little bit. So that could mean a birth of something, birth of a new idea. I think there's something here that needs to be tended to, and there is a think this is like your um, you're at a good place for the journey ahead. And this journey is we're moving towards the Eight of Wands, which is fire. No. Yes. Fire. Um, and I like this imagery. It's someone cruising on a bike. And it sort of looks like they're evading, they're evading these wands. And so at this moment, I feel like that could look like avoiding responsibility, avoiding accountability, maybe avoiding relationships, avoiding necessary communications that need to be had. I think in line with a star card, it could mean that there are parts of your life that need tending to. There are things that you need to be engaged with that maybe you're avoiding. And there are things that, I think you might be running from that you need to look at, And running has certainly served you in the past. But I think moving into these other energies, the running from, anywhere you go, there you are. And so it might be time to face some of these things. We move into the Page of Cups, and the Page of Cups here is telling us to tune in, to be receptive, to feel into intuition and emotion. It's telling us to look up, to begin again, and I think with a page you're not quite where a king or a queen would be, but you're not necessarily at the beginning of something. You're not you're kind of you're in the room, or just outside the door, I guess is what I want to say. And so I think what's going on here is we are we're moving through these different phases. There's these different parts of you that are calling to be tended to, and when you tend to these things, when you interact with these things, when you let yourself be present with the things you've been running from, when you let yourself be present with your emotions, when you let yourself be present in relation with others, we get this really juicy energy. We get this King of Swords, and she's crushing it on her throne. She's got an ability to speak and be present in that. She is a voice of compassion and reason and intellect. She is in tune with her path, and we also have the butterflies here, and there's some birds in the background. I think the butterflies, it's like this metamorphosis, right? So you've gone through, you faced these things that need to be facing. I feel like it's something to do with relationships or family dynamics is kind of what's coming up for me here. And then we get to this Three of Wands as well with the King of Swords. which feels like very I think it can be a start. It can either be looking back, looking back to where you've come from, you've passed through the sea, or you need to go through it. And I think a lot of things are cyclical, right? And so we move through these blocks and we move through these big emotions, and then we come back to them again. We come back and say it's not that you're constantly healing, because I don't think we need to be in this like mode of like, oh, I'm constantly healing, there's always something wrong with me. I don't think it's that. But there's always things to uncover. You can always I want to say keep moving forward, but it's not even necessarily that it has to be forward momentum. We go through these cycles though of becoming, and that's constant. That's why we came here, I think, is to just become more and more of ourselves, really, more and more human, if that's what we so desire. And so we can move through these moments, move through this energy, and then we can look out from where we've come and we can begin again. I think the star here really lends itself to, in this moment, into a connection with the things, into a connection with the mundane through the daily acts of living, of being alive. Yeah, so there's that we muddled through. Cool. So, is there anything else that wants to come out? Let's see. Is there anything else we need to know for this group? Let me see. I feel like there's something else here. Any other messages? This collective. Any other messages? We got a whole stack. I think it's this card that we're wanting. This is this. I almost said 6. The 9 of Cups. So a little bit more of that water energy, but look, all those rainbows and that beautiful mural behind her. This definitely feels like a reassurance. This like 70s kind of like color scheme could be like a synchronicity for you, or 9s could be. Yeah, I think kind of like a reassurance that to look for the color, look for the places that, I don't know, actually. I'm feeling like that. I lost that thread. Yeah. Sorry about that. I lost the thread there on that one. That's okay. Let's see what else we got here. guess I'm definitely new to reading tarot. I've had I've read tarot for myself and for the people around me for a long time. But I'm new to like doing it in this format, certainly. And so I think there are times where I feel a little bit insecure about it, and I'm definitely sorting through it. So if you're watching, I appreciate you being here for the sorting, for me figuring it out. I feel really called to connect in this way and to like develop my skill in reading tarot. And I mostly find that I'm taking it from a very intuitive approach, which feels helpful for me, rather than like an approach of memorizing all the cards and and everything. I think that is definitely helpful for some. I think that's definitely the way that works best for some people. And for me, I found that if I'm like feeling like I have to learn all of these things, then I don't actually like begin. So I'm working on acting, and in that action is doing something that I don't feel fully prepared to do in front of other people, which kind of is not my normal mode of operating. And so, yeah, sometimes that can feel a little bit unsettling. So that's where I'm at in this specific moment in time. So any other cards for this reading? Whoa. Flew right out of there. Any other messages? Any other messages? Okay. Any other messages? Jeez. Okay. 5 again. That's what we're going with today, I think. Okay. First we got the King of Wands. And the Chariot. And then we have the Two of Swords. The Hermit. And the Ten of Cups. I think that we are somewhere comfortable in our fire. I was just talking to a friend, and we were talking about how some suites of the tarot are harder to read than others. Maybe because it's an element we don't feel quite as acquainted with, right? And with fire, it's action, it's passion, it's drive, it's desire. And I think that you are someone who feels very connected to those things. You feel could be like very like type A personality, very like in your element in fire energy, which is something we're coming into as a collective too, with these planets moving into Aries. Um, and so I think there's some comfort here, right? So there's some comfort in this King of Wands, and you're moving through navigating um, you're moving through navigating aspects where it's not appropriate to bring fire, right? um, yeah, it feels like with this King of Wands and this Chariot, there's also an element to the Chariot. The Chariot is speed. Um, the Chariot can also be, there's an element of the Chariot where it's literally like acquiring or combining the things to build a chariot that pushes you forward. And it feels very much like you've built this this cart, you've built a chariot on this aspect of you that is fire energy, right? On this part of you that is um, at the top of your game in regards to maybe your career, like you're crushing it in your career, you're doing all the things, but then there's this other thing that is calling to you, or that's missing, or it doesn't quite have the same spark that it used to have. And there's something that needs to shift for you, and you don't know what that is, right? You have this Two of Swords energy. You don't quite know. You don't quite know what it is. Sorry, I suddenly felt so very self-conscious that I was saying energy like a million times. But we will move forward. Yeah, you don't quite know what you're facing with this Two of Swords. It's not for you to know exactly what you will be facing, but you need to know that whatever it is, you are fully capable. You're prepared. You don't need to know. You know, you have the capability of facing it without knowing exactly what it is. And I think the fire, the King of Wands, wants to know. You know, it's not easy for you to not know. You have a sense of these things, and maybe in this moment you don't, and that can feel really isolating and difficult. But I think what this is calling to um, is that there is a need to go inward. There is a need to take it on without pomp, um, without celebration. I think you need to keep this journey to yourself. You need to be discreet, and you need to come at it, or you need to face it internally and privately first. And that will be the best way for you to meet this moment, is to take it on your own. I think something that I've noticed that happens to me is, or that has happened to me is, if I am a writer, and I write fantasy novels, and when I have started a story that I'm really psyched about and I share it with someone, no matter what their reaction is, if it could be positive or negative or what have you, I've had that story literally just disappear from me because I shared it too soon. I hadn't spent this necessary time in this hermit mode of just keeping it to myself and working on it, you know. So I think there's something here with this fire, with this king, that you want to be outspoken, you want to be telling, you want to be saying that this is what you're facing down, but ultimately you don't know exactly what that is, And so it's best to, hold it close to your chest and sort it out on your own, and that will result in this celebration and creation and a very happy ending of sorts. So yeah, there we go there. That was our blue stone deck. And then, oh wait, was I saying? No, okay. And then this feather is the Rainbow Tarot. Any messages? We have for this moment. Any messages you have for this moment? Interesting. There's too many cards. Giving me a lot of cards. Hope this is resonating with someone. I'm currently thinking that it's not going well. So I'm just going to get that out of my head. And we will press on. Any additional cards? Messages? Oh, I guess I didn't say this at the beginning. I don't read reversals, by the way, so that's why there have been none. Because that's just my philosophy. I figure if it needs to be the reversal, there's a different card that maybe is better suited, so that's how I approach it. Any additional messages? Any additional messages? Interesting. So we got the Queen of Swords, the King of Wands, the Knight of Cups, the Eight of Cups, and the Three of Wands, which we just had in the last reading. This king has had top surgery, which is cool. Scars right there. So that's cool. Okay. Let's see here. I've got no, not all the elements. No pentacles today. Interesting. Yeah, the Queen of Swords, she is in her element. She is decisive and exacting and fair and clear. she is telling us that there is a need or a drive within you to be more clear in the way you present yourself. Um, with the influence of the King of Wands, there is also a clarity um, in your actions that you either have or that's coming towards you. This sort of feels like this is something um, that you're moving into, right? You might not be exactly here yet, but this feels like something you're moving into. You're moving into a clarity of desire, of communication, and really just like crushing it sort of at the top of your game with in regards to um, how you show up in your daily life. Um, it doesn't necessarily feel focused on like any specific theme. It sort of feels like just a general like air of how you operate, right? Like a king or a queen, they exist um, on their throne, and they have like a, at least how I see them specifically with the tarot, is that they have like this quiet confidence, this reassurance, this knowledge that they are capable. And you are capable, you're moving through some really difficult times, and you're doing that with a sureness, with a really confidence, I guess is maybe what I want to say, but like you're doing it with with a lot of power. You're confident in where your power resides and where your strengths are, and you are using them. I think that there is, as we move through this spread, I think we have the Knight of Cups and the Eight of Cups, and then we have the Three of Wands, and I think that is carrying forward. Yeah, it sort of is how they're all looking at each other. So like this person's moving forward, this person happens to be looking back, and then this person's like looking out over an abyss. And then the king and the queen are also looking towards each other. So I think there's a lot of looking forward and looking back. There's some reflection. You are moving. Huh. Yeah, you're moving forward into this Queen of Swords, and looking back, realizing you've had this King of Wands the whole time. And so there's sort of this essence of really stepping into your power, is what I want to say. And it's very present in this Knight of Cups card, where you're carrying forward this cup, you're carrying forward this emotion, this intuition, and there's not a rush here to this night. They're moving with they're moving. I'm struggling to find the words here. I hope I'm maybe conveying it in some other way on another level. Because it's really feeling like there's, like you've got it sorted, in a lot of ways. And I think this is an energy that you're moving into, and that feels like you've earned through a lot of things you've gone through before. And yeah, it sort of feels like you're with with these two cup cards and then the three of wands. It feels like you've you've gone on, or you're taking on a new journey, a new challenge, and you're doing that with this presence of the king and the queen within you, and knowing that you're fully capable of it. That feels like that's where it is. Um, yeah, let's see. Can we get a couple clarifiers? Let's just see. Let's just see where we land. Can we get a clarifying card? Whoop. Hey, there's some pentacles. 9 of Pentacles, or discs, and the 10 of discs. So, yeah, I mean, this feels like really solid. Like you're crushing it. You're on this journey of, it could be discovery. It could also just be like an actual physical journey that you're going on, and you're doing it with this air of authority and regality, if you will, and the outcome of that is just very cool. Like the 9 of discs, she's just chilling in her garden and she's reaping the rewards of her harvest, I feel like. And then the 10 of discs is like a celebration of life and creation, and really both of these cards feel like very celebratory and very complete. So yeah, this one's feeling like, I think maybe you need to give yourself a pat on the back and give yourself a little bit more credit. You're doing a great job. So that is that. All right. Well, I hope you have a fabulous day, rest of your day, night, whatever time you happen to be watching this, and thank you for tuning in. Bye.